Hey guys, we're going to talk about chapter 6, which again is flexibility and low back fitness. This video should be very short. I don't have a lot that I want to elaborate about what's not in the chapter PowerPoint and what's not in your book. Just to remind you, flexibility is the ability to move a joint through full motion, full range of motion. Very few people have full range of motion within each of their joints. And how we test that would be the sit and reach test or the shoulder flexibility test. Sit and reach you've probably done where you're sitting in the floor. There's a little box with a button, not a button, but like a little push. And then you stretch out as far as you can go and you push the tab away from you. And there's numbers on there telling you how flexible you are. Your shoulder reach test is someone's going to help you. You have a ruler or yardstick. You pull one shoulder behind you. You pull the other shoulder behind you. And you connect the two, so you would measure the amount of overlap that you have, or if you don't have any, 0, and then if you, that would be a negative shoulder reach test and the flexibility within your shoulders. And obviously your shoulders aren't going to be the same. I can touch with my left shoulder, but it's going to be much more minimal than with my right shoulder. My right shoulder is pretty significant. I am right-handed, so I do have more movement through the right side of my body, but I am completely different than you guys, so your flexibility range could be much different from mine. Stretching and flexibility sometimes reduces the risk of injury. It just depends. Prevention is mixed, that research is mixed. So again, it just depends on what research study you prefer or you trust the most. Now, I want you to look at assessing your flexibility. We just talked about that, but on page 199, page 199, you will see factors that affect flexibility tests. Time of day is very important. People are more flexible in the afternoon. That's just because they've gotten their day going and they have been moving. Morning is not a good time. People are more stiff. Obviously, they've been laying in bed sleeping. Temperature of the room, warmer rooms help you stretch farther. So I actually participate in hot yoga, hot Pilates, and allows you to stretch farther because your body's warmer, your muscles are more warm, and it's very, very relaxing. I encourage everyone to try hot yoga at least once in their lifetime. It might make you very uncomfortable, but it also, you might fall in love with it. It is very, very good for your joints, very good for flexibility. Clothing is very important, non-restrictive clothing, making sure you have loose fitting clothing. Soreness, if you're sore, it's going to limit flexibility pretty good amount. Competitiveness, not really. Your ability to relax, if you're more tense, then you could be less flexible. And then human error is typically at fault for your flexibility test. People not being able to read tests right or not know what they're talking about or what they're doing. That happens quite frequently with sit and reach tests whenever I do it. Alright, so putting together a flexibility program, flexibility training techniques, I want you to take a look at your PowerPoint. There is a very good video in there explaining the difference between static, passive, active, and ballistic stretching. It shows you the movements through all of those for you to get a better idea if these photos aren't adequate enough. I understand that the photos don't do a very good job of trying to convey the stretch. So take a look at that video. It's a short video, so you should be able to get a good idea of what those stretches look like. Comparison of stretching techniques chart is on page 202. And flexibility wise, you should be stretching 2 to 3 times per week. Again, that's by ACSM guidelines that we've already talked about this week. Your low back health is on page 205. There's some stuff in your PowerPoints about that. Maintaining good posture. And the last thing I want you to think about is your desktop laptop should be within eye monitor adjustment, just like my computer is while I'm filming this. You should have your hands on your desk and they shouldn't be below or out. They should be straight out. Wrist should be straight. Chair should be 90 to 100 degrees, helping with your back posture. And if you can get a standing desks are so much better for your work posture than sitting. All of those things are some good tips or tricks of the trade. I also want you to take a look at page 214. It provides you flexibility exercises for you to know what stretch helps what joint. So take a look at those, try them out. You might find that some of these stretches are very, very helpful for you. And outside of that, that is wrapping up chapter 6.